describe your experience at Arizona so far?
My experience has been great. I mean, I know a couple of my teammates already, so I feel like I felt really comfortable, especially with the relationship I had with my receiver coach, Coach Bobby Wade. All my brothers welcome me here at Arizona, and I'm grateful to be here, and it's a great opportunity. And ever since I've been out here, it just felt like home. So, it feels great. It feels like I'm not upset. I miss home, but this is my second home, so it's great to be here.
Bobby Wade said that he was scouting you and was developing a rapport in the offseason. Can you tell us about that relationship and how it started and how it's grown so far?
So me and Bobby Wade had a relationship, back in my junior college of San Mateo, and it all started over a FaceTime call, and my head coach told me to come over, and we started talking and chopping it up. We instantly clicked, and I already knew Bobby Wade, obviously, and I just felt like we related, especially with like the same skill set we have, and anything he's telling me, I picked up on everything. And second time I talked to him, we went out to eat and everything, and kind of just grew our relationship from there. And I just trusted him because it's like usually not the best when you meet a coach for the first time. Sometimes it's a little bit uncomfortable, but we instantly connected, and that was a great start from there.
Michael and Brian?
Sure. For Kedrick, what was the basis for your decision to transfer and then ultimately to decide to come to Arizona?
My family being able to come to the games. That was all I needed, really.
Your family?
Yeah.
And what's your hometown again?
Houston, Texas. Or New Caney, but for people that don't really know where that's at, I just say Houston.
That's like a suburb.
Yeah.
It's easy to get there from here.
I say so, yeah.
And then one more for you. You have to be patient sometimes when there's a pretty stacked depth chart. How do you kind of mentally process like being patient yet also being ready? Because you had to be ready this past Saturday.
I just think I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. That's it. Yeah, next man up mentality.
Brian and Troy. Jeremiah, you've been on the punt and the kick return. How do you decide whether to take it out on some of those kicks compared to other ones where you kneel? Is it just something you see from the defense or what?
I think it's just a feel for it. I've been back there for a long time now. It is a little bit more pressure now that I'm here, but I feel like, I kind of just have a feel for it, and I know when to go and when to fair catch. Just feeling it, I don't really have the right answer for that, but, I know that when it's right, I take the opportunity and go.
Is it weird that you have to keep putting on a different jersey?
I feel like I just got to do what I have to, for the team. And, I feel like that was the right thing to do. So I went ahead and gone and do that.
Troy and Justin. Kedrick, what was that moment like for you, that 56-yard touchdown, your first collegiate touchdown?
Amazing. I can't even describe nothing like that, man. That's like first college touchdown. Man, it's nothing like that, man.
And then what have you learned from Coach Carter in this, although short amount of time, but just being around him and developing as a running back?
Really just football in general. Like, not just what I have, what everyone has, and what part that plays in what I have to do. And what I have to do plays in the part what they got to do. You know what I mean? So that's really what I learned from Coach Carter.
For Jeremiah, Coach Brennan praised your commitment to getting better and your focus. Where does that come from?
I'm going to have to shout out my mom for this. My mom's a really hard worker. I feel like my work ethic comes from her. I always just try to focus on getting better every day, focusing on what I can do to improve. And, I've been through a lot in my life. And, when adversity hits, that's when I'm at my best. So I think that's the big thing.
And then Why do you think maybe you got overlooked coming out of high school, and what did the JUCO route do for your development?
So throughout high school, I wasn't a receiver until about junior, senior year. I was moving around different positions, and I think another thing about that is my grades wasn't, the best. But, when I went to JUCO route, I got a lot more focused, and the coaches that I was surrounding myself and my teammates that I was surrounding myself with just pushed me to a different. It was really different, and shout out College of San Mateo. They prepare us and show us what is a good example for the Division I level. So I feel like they really prepare me.
For Jeremiah, you mentioned your mom. What's her name?
Carolina Williams.
Carolina.
Yes, ma'am.
And what does
Yes,
she
sir.
do for a living?
My mom, she watches kids, and yeah, she watched me. So she was like my first teacher. So yeah,
How many brothers and sisters do you have?
I have 5 siblings. Yeah,
Where do you fall
I'm the youngest.
You're the youngest?
Yeah, I'm the youngest. So I had, to watch as I grew up, and I think I did a good job with just sitting back and watching my siblings and knowing what's right and what's wrong.
Sure. And a follow-up question about the jersey. Is it in any way a hindrance to you doing your job, catching the ball, anything like that? And have you considered changing numbers so you don't have to do that?
Honestly, if they ask me to put it on again, I'm just gonna do what they're asking me to do. I'm not gonna make too much of a, I just want to play ball and do my job.
Aaron in the back.
Both of you guys, starting yesterday, they started implementing stadium noise during practice. How have you two been handling that?
I don't think it's any hindrance at all, to be honest with you. I just play football. We came up with a system to combat that, so that's what it is. There's no hindrance to it.
And I think honestly, it makes it a little bit more fun. Honestly, it doesn't make it any difficult situations for me personally, and then for my teammates. I think it's just getting us prepared for the atmosphere, and it's a great thing.
Kendrick, did you have any conversations with Ja'Cory leading up to this game when it was known that he wasn't going to play? It was going to be more opportunities for you to say anything to you about to be ready?
He did. He said, make him feel you. He said, it's your turn. He said, go shine. Like, Ja'Cory, he was really supportive about everything that happened so far.
On that play where you were able to outrun them, I mean, do you consider yourself more of that kind of the speed away from guys, or ones that are willing to push through and break tackles?
I'm all type of back. I do whatever.
And Kedrick, in your 1 year at Ole Miss, what were some of the stadiums that you played in and maybe were the loudest?
Loudest stadium I played in, definitely Auburn. Auburn was rocking, man. Auburn was rocking. Tulane, low-key, was rocking too. And then Georgia at the beginning because the game was close, but then after a while, kind of dwindled down.
And how often do people mispronounce your last name?
All the time. All the time. I'm going to say it right now, so hopefully stop it. It's Ricino.
Does it frustrate you? Or
Nah, it's been happening for so long, it don't really frustrate me no more.
Last question to Justin.
Kedrick, so Arizona going to the Big 12 means they're going to be playing more Texas teams. How excited are you as a Texan to be playing against those teams and going to Texas?
Extremely excited because a lot of those schools didn't recruit me. So now I get to play them, make them feel me.
So it's personal against the Texas teams.
It is.
All right, that's our time.
Perfect.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Can't hear you.
Coach favors. Start with Michael and then Justin.
Did you expect there to be some growing pains with the offense early in the season with still a lot of kind of new parts, new voices, et cetera?
It's always like that on offense. The defense is in front of the offense most of the time because of the complexity of the things we have to do. Not that defense isn't complex, but yeah, growing pains a little bit, but I wouldn't just put it all on that.
What would you put it on? This last game?
Well, I think a lot of the stuff is just we have to play better, we have to coach better, and there was a lot of new guys in there, and they're just getting their good feel and breaking bread for the first time, and they got to get used to being out there.
How would you assess offensive line play through the first 2 games?
2 different offensive lines. I thought we were really clean the first game. I thought we were not so clean the second game. But I thought the effort was fantastic. The new guys really were trying hard. They really played hard. They didn't always do everything right, but they really played hard.
Brian?
How has it been for you calling plays from up in the booth and the perspective after so many years of being down on the field? Are there any advantages to being up there?
Yeah, you don't get cold. Hopefully you don't get hot either. But no, it's where I've called it on the ground. I've called it up in the booth. That doesn't really matter to me. But I think when you get a chance to see it from an overview, you don't have to trust anyone else's eyes. What you see is what you get, and you know where to go.
Justin and Jason.
Well, what have you seen out of Kansas State on defense, and what challenges do they present?
I didn't hear the last part of the question, but I can tell you right now they're a very, very good defensive football team. A lot of experience. You check there, a bunch of seniors, a bunch of juniors, a bunch of older guys that have played together in that system a long time. It's a good system, and they're really, really good at what they do.
And have you ever coached or played at Kansas State before?
Yeah, I used to coach. I was at Baylor. I was at Texas A&M. I've coached at Kansas State before.
How was the atmosphere?
It's loud, and we're practicing and expect it to be loud. It's extremely loud.
Jason and Troy.
With T-Mac, he's going to see every type of coverage there is, and some games will look like the first game, some will look like the second. How do you kind of keep him consistent in terms of, hey, it may not always go the way you want it to?
Well, I think after the first 2 games, I think he's seen a gamut of coverages. And I think after the last game, they put a lot of different coverages on him. So I think we're going to grow from that. And from that growth, we'll see where we're at when we get into Kansas State. But it was good for him to see that many different types of coverages against him in the first 2 games.
Troy and Brian.
You mentioned the loudness of Kansas State in environments like that across college football, being in the Big 12. How much does the in-helmet communication potentially help with that in terms of being able to communicate with the quarterback, even though you have all those loud noises and loud fans in the stadium?
It helps a little bit. There's no doubt about it, but it's amazing when you're trying to speak into that helmet. If there's loud noises coming outside of it, it's still very extremely difficult for the quarterbacks to hear. You may even see them, if you watch the games, cupping their ears, trying to keep the outside noise out and keeping the noise inside the helmet so the information can be distributed. But it's still difficult. Loud stadiums make a difference.
Brian and Michael.
What have your impressions been in the game so far of how Jeremiah Patterson's performed and the importance of having those other guys when T-Mac is such a focus?
I thought that the first game we thought Jeremiah was going to be good, but that play he did in the second game on that sideline when he just ran through the smoke, as we would call it, and accelerated through those 2 defenders, kept his feet, and then got into the end zone, that's all I need to see. Now, he made a big mistake because he showed me that he could do it. And expectations, we all know about those. He's not allowed to tail off no more. You gotta keep growing from there. But I think we've got a really exciting player. I think the community and the football team is really excited that he's a part of us.
Michael? How helpful is it to have almost a plug-and-play situation at running back where someone goes down or someone's unavailable like Ja'Cory and you can just go to the next guy and go to the next guy and it doesn't seem like there's any drop-off?
Well, I'll tell you what, I think that's one of our stronger groups. And to have a good football team and to have a good season, you're going to get injuries. That stuff's going to happen. That's the nature of the game. But you hope that they're not serious and you hope they're at a position where you have some depth. And thank you, God willing, we do have a little depth at the tailback position, and I was really proud of how those guys came in and performed.
Any more questions for Coach? Justin?
Just through the first two games with the different formations that your team has put out there, how do you think they're adjusting to your play calling and how you guys are operating?
As far as the formations, we need the formations. Being multi-formational is going to help give guys opportunities to be explosive. And if you check I don't know where we are on the explosive meter compared to other football teams, but I would like to think that we're at least up there somewhere. So that's part of what we do. We mix formations and we do a lot of that stuff. And I think that's going to help our guys to put them in positions to make plays and score points.
Coming out of the first week, we were asking Coach Brennan, about kind of target distribution. Oh, we're giving the ball to T-Mac too much. Do you need to get other people involved? And then after the second week, a lot of people were saying T-Mac didn't get the ball enough. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's a no-win situation, but how do you just kind of view that whole thing as far as like who gets the ball, how much?
T-Mac is one of our best players. For us to be at our best, he needs to touch the ball. We need to find ways to make sure he gets the ball. What that number is, I don't know what that number is. But I know if you and I were on a three-man basketball team and the other guy was Michael Jordan, I don't think you and I were supposed to shoot a whole bunch. We're going to be hopefully trying to grab a rebound, taking a bunch of charges, and setting a bunch of picks and getting ran over. And we're going to like it because Michael's going to be hitting all those shots. So we have other guys that can make plays, but there's no doubt that T-Mac is special, and we need to find a way to get him the ball.
Justin?
What is your connection to Bill Snyder, and what do you think about just his legacy at Kansas State?
Really no connection to Coach Snyder. I've watched him. I've been around, so I've watched him. I know what he's done there. I know what he's done for that program and how he put it on the map. And I believe he has a son that's in the business as well. I don't know if he has more than one, but I know at least one son in the business. And the Snyder name in college football has always been strong. It's something that's always been respected.
As an offensive coordinator, when you have a guy like the Kansas State quarterback, Avery Johnson, who is mobile and get on the pocket, do all those things, how much does that change what you would want to do on offense when you have a guy with that ability?
There's a lot of ways to win football games. There's a lot of ways to move the ball. But it normally starts through the quarterback position. So you find out what your quarterback can do, and you find out what he can't do, and you try to do more of the first thing and stay away from the latter. So when you're multi-dimensional, that's a huge advantage. When a guy has arms and legs, that's a huge advantage. But I also think that when you talk about our quarterback, he may not run like everybody else, but if you watch him in the pocket and you watch him elude tacklers and stay in the game, so to speak, I think he's elusive as well in a different type of way with his legs.
We have time for one more. Good? Go ahead.
What does it mean for guys like Kedrick and Jeremiah to be so new to the program, yet 2 games into the season they're already making contributions?
I think that's good. I think it says something about, obviously, the recruiting department. I think it says something about our culture here as well, because those 2 guys could have went anywhere they wanted to go. They would be recruiting by everybody. But when they came here and met our players and met our team, met Coach B, and got a taste of what our Ohana is all about, our culture is all about, they wanted to be a part of it. And even more important than that, our players wanted them. If our players don't like somebody we bring in and recruit, it may not be a good situation for them, but they really enjoy Jeremiah and Ked, and we're glad they're a part of our family.
Actually, go ahead, Michael. Last question.
What would you like to see from the offensive line, and maybe the offense as a whole, in terms of communication on the field? It seemed maybe to be an issue a bit in the last game.
I think that when it comes to communication is the key to anything, business, relationships, anything. And if you want to disrupt something, disrupt communication. That's what loud stadiums, loud noises, and all that other stuff's all about. So for us to be the type of offense we need to be, we need to be able to communicate, and we need to be able to communicate in all situations. And even though it's difficult, it's a task that we have to embrace. We have to embrace, and we have to get that job done.
All right, that's our time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.